Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Livingston County's 7th Annual State of the County Address. I am honored to introduce Donald S. Parker, Livingston County Board Chairman. Don Parker is a Howell native with over 14 years of experience as a practicing attorney. He has served on the Livingston County Board of Commissioners for 15 years, where he represents District 5. Prior to becoming a commissioner, Don served as Howell City Councilman. In 2007, the Michigan Attorney General appointed Don as the Livingston County Public Administrator, where he acts on behalf of the state of Michigan in the administration of statutorily specified estates and descendant issues. Don graduated from the University of Georgia with a Bachelor of Arts in Journalism. He received his Juris Doctorate from the Michigan State University. Don is a member of St. Joseph Catholic Church in Howell, where he has volunteered as a part of the Life Teen Core team. Don also serves as a member of the Robert W. and Maxine Parker Foundation and is a Howell Area Chamber of Commerce member. He serves as trustee on the Michigan Association of Counties Workers' Compensation Fund. Don represents Region 4 on the Michigan Association of Counties Board of Directors. Commissioner Parker is currently serving his second year as chairman of the Board of Commissioners. Please help me welcome Commissioner Don Parker.
Thank you, Cindy. This event, this speech, falls in the shadow of a great tragedy and a great loss for this county. Ken Hinton was a consummate professional and dedicated public servant. We, of course, extend our condolences and thoughts and prayers to Dawn Hinton and the Hinton family. But right now, I ask that you join me in a brief moment of silence to remember our late county administrator, Ken Hinton. Thank you. I also want to thank Cindy Katanek. Cindy has stepped in this role as acting county administrator. Cindy is a diligent and dedicated public servant. I know I speak on behalf of the entire board to know that she has our complete confidence to execute these duties as acting county administrator in the interim, and I know that she will perform and excel in those duties. So Cindy, thank you very much. This speech, this State of the County, is much different than the one that I gave last time. I'm not going to get into the activities of various departments, the great work that our county employees do on a daily basis, or in issues like infrastructure or public safety. Not that those are not important, but I wanted to get more into the macro rather than the micro. I wanted to get more into the prospective rather than to the retrospective. And so, as we go about this speech tonight, this is much more of a larger view in terms of Livingston County and where we believe it is going. But first, I would like to welcome, we have some special guests. I see Mona Shan. Mona represents Congresswoman Slotkin. Mona, thank you for being here. Thank you. I saw State Senator Tice, Lana Tice, and I didn't know if Representatives Vopel or Bolin are here, but we thank them all for what they do in terms of representing the county and in Lansing. So thank you for being here. I also see many of our countywide electeds. Our countywide electeds are the finest in the state of Michigan. I would take that state over any group of countywide electeds any place else in any of the counties. So thank you all for being here. And also too, I see some local officials here. Thank you for being here. And as part of composing this speech, we solicited from our local partners what's going on in their villages, in their cities, in their townships. and they provide some extraordinary things. And that really speaks to the dynamic quality of Livingston County, of all what's going on. So thank you. And also, we have members of our judiciary here. Thank you. But I want to give special recognition to our newest judges, Judges Murphy, McGivney, and Bain. Thank you. I believe that they'll make a great contribution to Livingston County, and they'll administer justice impartially and fairly to the people that come before them. So thank you for being here. I'd also like to thank those that are watching this on live stream. Hopefully there's no technical difficulties. Well, maybe if this speech doesn't go so well, maybe there is technical difficulties. That wouldn't be a bad thing. But thank you for watching this, those who are watching this on live stream. Last but never least, I'd like to recognize my colleagues on the Board of Commissioners. These are all incredible people, and they do incredible things. And what makes this board such a great group is how ordinary we are. We all come from the ordinary pursuits of life, and we don't always agree. But we come with one common goal: what is best for the people of Livingston County. And I can tell you, I recognize they're sitting in the front row, and the graphic has them before you. When you serve as commissioner, you work for the people that you represent. When you serve as chair, you also work for the people that you represent, but you also work for your board. And it's been a privilege and an honor to work for such an extraordinary group of people. So I want to thank the board. This year, we started an employee recognition program, and these are the 3 winners. And I can tell you that these are all 3 incredible people who've provided great service to Livingston County. But moreover, they are emblematic of our workforce as a whole. Our county workforce work in a vast array of departments, doing multiple different things, really across the spectrum of county government. They do it every day, and they deal with the general public in circumstances that it's hard for many of us even to fathom of what they see. And they do it with professionalism and dedication. So we recognize these 3 winners, but we also recognize the county workforce as its whole, because this is what makes this whole group, this is what makes this whole system work. So thank you. So let's get a round of applause if we can for the Livingston County workforce. We've made, since I've last stood before you in this address, we've made great advances in 2019 in areas that I mentioned in my last State of the County. First, we have a new 911 building that is operational. This state-of-the-art facility will provide greater service for this essential department. And also, they've won a triple accreditation. They're the only ones to get this triple accreditation award in the state of Michigan. They're one of 11 in the country and one of 15 in the world. So I see Joni, I'm sure you see Chad there. So congratulations, 911. And talking about a department that never sleeps. I mean, 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They have to have their game on all the time, and they do. Thank you, 911. Opioid litigation. In this year, 2019, Livingston County joined in a nationwide lawsuit to hold entities responsible that contributed to the opioid epidemic. We did so after considerable deliberation, considerable thought, and we decided it was the best path forward for Livingston County. And so that is underway, and we are a part of this lawsuit. And this has been an epidemic that has ravaged many communities, including ours. But we are in the process of making sure that justice is done, the best that we can, and to ensure, hopefully, those that are responsible are held to account, and also help those that have been so adversely affected. Indigent defense. We now have a public defender's office. Indigent defense is a constitutional right, providing counsel to those who are charged criminally and can't afford to retain private counsel. It's a constitutional right that we take very seriously. In addition, there are guidelines coming from the state of Michigan through the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission, MIDC, and those guidelines coming from the MIDC, the delivery systems, which are primarily counties, we have to be in compliance. After much thought, after much weighing of options, we decided that having a public defender's office was the best way to go. It also needs to be said that this public defender's office will be a mosaic of both privately contracted attorneys and county employee in-house public defenders. Karen, I thought I saw Karen earlier, Karen Gronow, she will be our chief public defender. She's a person of incredible enthusiasm, and I know that she will execute her duties with the same enthusiasm that she has shown in terms of getting it up and running. And so we're proud of the efforts, all the efforts from staff, from the board, to get this new department. As I said, this is a new department for the county up and running, but we have done so. And as new guidelines come down from the state of Michigan, from the MIDC, just know that Livingston County will be in compliance. We've had successes in 2019, but I wanted to focus this address on the future of this county. And when I say future, I just don't mean going into 2020. I'm talking about going 5, 10, 15, 20 years out. To look at the long-term changes, the long-term dynamics, the long-term opportunities, and the overall context. And so, it's often been said, and it's something that I believe in, transformative demographic change is underway. And that change is going to have impact at every governmental level. As the overall population, as you can see, we're currently, the county, and we'll get to more of this later, we're currently around 191,000 people. We're projected to be, as you can see, over 241,000 people. That's the forecast in 2045. We have great growth. That's a real highlight of this county, and it has been for a long time, is that people want to be here, businesses want to be here. In addition, you can see how we stack up against the SEMCOG, which is southeastern Michigan, other counties, the aggregate. And we are far outpacing our neighborhoods in the southeastern Michigan quadrant. So this is a tremendous, tremendous compliment to the people of this county and to what type of county this is in terms of alluring both individuals, families, and businesses. But as one mines the data even further in terms of demographics, there's some data that appears a little bit to be of a challenge. This next graphic, I believe, is the most startling of the evening. That is the enrollment in Livingston County schools for the last 15 years. I want to make this clear. This is not a criticism of Livingston County schools. And this is not confined to Livingston County alone. Within the last year in southeastern Michigan, we've seen Grosse Pointe schools have closed 2 elementary schools. One of the most iconic high schools in southeastern Michigan, Farmington Harrison, has been shuttered for good. So this is a dynamic in place that's not just exclusive to us. It's not just exclusive actually to the state. It's actually not just exclusive to the country. We are seeing declining birth rates and declining fertility rates. And when coupled with the increase in population, there's no question and there's no secret to say that Michigan is an aging state, no doubt about it. But when viewed in the context of there's going to be less young people, and due to the great, by all means, it's a great medical breakthroughs that we have this increase in longevity and life expectancy, that is going to bring some issues up for policymakers. It will. The state of Michigan and its municipal finance system assumes, when I'm talking about counties and local branches of government, a certain level of new growth. I didn't say organic growth, I said new growth, particularly with Headley and Prop A. We have to have that, it's not just a question of expanding services, enhancing services, having new services, but just maintaining current services. And under Prop A, revenue that can be taxed is capped. But there's one thing that's not capped: expenses. In the last 3 years, Livingston County has seen a 22% increase in its health care. In addition, we've seen a 213% increase in terms of our employer contribution to the pension system. This is what we are dealing with. And I would be remiss to say that Governor Whitmer's latest line item vetoes have not helped and have actually been a tremendous burden on the people of this county and on the people of the state of Michigan. And I stand 100% behind Sheriff Murphy. And I say to Governor Whitmer that she needs to rescind those line item vetoes, and that the people of the state of Michigan are not political pawns or bargaining chips. So, going forward, this is the context. We have declining birth rate. We have an aging population. We have constraints in municipal finance in terms of what we can do in terms of revenue. What's going to be the big, in my opinion, what's going to be the big competition going forward between counties, communities, states? What are we all going to be vying for? People. Human capital. And those communities that are either slow growth or no growth are going to have trouble, not just in terms of expanding services, but just staying on top of maintaining services and keeping on top of their legacy costs. Now for some good news. When my last State of the County, I said that Livingston County was on the cusp of becoming the 10th largest county in the state of Michigan. That's no longer factually accurate. We are now the 10th largest county. We have surpassed Saginaw as the 10th largest county in the state of Michigan. That really speaks well to where we are and where we stand when you look at some of these other counties. These are very large. A lot of them have major city counties. And now that we're in the top 10, that really speaks well to what we've done and accomplished, not only as a governmental system, but as a people. So, that's kind of the context. How do we position the county in the future? That brings me to the realm of governing philosophy, the approach of government. What is Livingston County's governing philosophy? Well, I can tell you it's a governing philosophy that has been affirmed in election after election in Livingston County. It's about efficient and effective services. It's about fiscal strength. We are one of a handful of counties that have a Moody's AAA bond rating, which is amazing considering our population. We have a balanced budget every year, and $9.8 million we have contributed extra to our pension plan. Those are promises that we have made to our employees in terms of those pensions. And we have done our best, and we've done our duty to fund that pension. And so this has been an important, any commissioner will tell you, this has been one of the highest priorities of this board. And also, what has been a fundamental component of our governing philosophy? We maintain the lowest tax rate in the state of Michigan. This comes through a lot. This doesn't happen by accident. This comes with a lot of work and a lot of decisions. One of the toughest things that a policymaker can do is to look at a group of well-intentioned, sincere individuals who are advocating on behalf of a cause that they would like to see occur and say no. Say no not because you question their sincerity. Say no not because you question their intent or their motives, but say no because you believe in the long term it's not the right thing to do. And so that's what we have to do to maintain this tax rate. No question about it. The tax rate is often discussed, as it should. It's a source of accomplishment for this county. But we often don't discuss why. Why do we make it such a priority? And with this graphic before you, it says we have 1,929 families that live in below poverty. Now, I appreciate and understand that someone living below the poverty rate gets exemptions there's available in terms of the property taxes. But it needs to be said that renters, and I think this is often missed, renters do benefit from the low tax rate through their rent. And this also doesn't take into account our ALICE residents. Our ALICE residents are asset limited, income constrained, but employed. These are the people who live paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. So we often hear, Board of Commissioners, policymakers, well, this millage will only be an extra $20 and only extra $50 for someone on their tax roll. Tell that to someone who's living on $1,200 a month. Tell that to someone who's living on $1,400 a month. It matters. In addition, these are the top 11 counties in the state of Michigan by population, with a random assortment of municipalities. This is what a home with an assessed value of $250,000, this is what the top property tax bill would be. You can see Livingston County is the lowest. But even behind those numbers, there's a story. That's additional money for a family to save for their kids' college education. That's additional money for someone to invest for their retirement. That's additional money for a vacation that someone always wanted to have. Whatever it might be, it's more money in their pocket. And to go back to what I said about the competition into the future, vying for people, this is a great asset for Livingston County in terms of drawing people and businesses. When they look at how much less they will pay in property taxes by being a resident of Livingston County, that does have a draw. So, This Livingston County, this has been our governing philosophy. This precedes me. It's not just about this board. This has been the governing philosophy of our predecessors in these chairs. What has it produced? What's been the fruit of this governing philosophy? Livingston County has the highest household median income of any state, of any county of 83 in the state of Michigan in 2018. In addition, according to the University of Michigan, and this is a forecast for population, and there's all 83 counties, only 7 of them are expected to have the highest growth rate, which is the 6.6 to 10.8 between now and 2025. I think that is a real achievement for this county. And I just believe that going forward, we have to maintain upon the foundation of those who preceded us. I think that that's the best way to position ourselves for the next 20, 30, 40 years. And that has shown to be what we have done, what we have accomplished for the people that we represent, not only now, not only in the past, but for our future residents, future families who want to start, and businesses who want to start their life, raise their children, grow their businesses within Livingston County. So, why did I pick future trending as my topic and not future trends, for example? Trends mean something that's almost gelled. I picked trending because there's still some things in flux, but I'm very optimistic about the future. My optimism is just not because of naive sentiment or emotional attachment. My optimism is also not based entirely on the analytics or the metrics or the data, but it also has to do with the people that I encounter on a daily basis. People who believe we're an optimistic people. We look in terms of the long term, and they're trying to do the right thing by their communities and their families and their people, and for our county workforce, for the county and the people that they serve. It's the people that makes me optimistic. And so I want to close on a statement that I made in my last day of the county. And this one requires no revision or no modification whatsoever. When asked, what is the state of Livingston County? And that's the name of this address, the state of the county. What is the state of Livingston County? The state of Livingston County is strong. Thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you very much. Good night.